In the business world, it's dog eat dog, and you need every bit of competitive edge you can possibly get. Whether you're a salesperson, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, or corporate executive, you've landed on the podcast that gives you that edge and more. This is the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. Exploring the strategies, tactics, and mindset shifts needed to elevate your business and leadership skills to new heights. Your host has walked the walk. He's coached thousands of clients to remarkable results and rubbed shoulders with legends like Tony Robbins, Ken Blanchard, Jack Canfield, and Brian Tracy. It's practical advice, inspiring stories, and the occasional dose of tough love, helping you to overcome challenges and seize opportunities. This is the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. And now your host, owner of Potential in Motion, coaching you to the edge of what's possible, Tom Kelly.
Welcome to the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Kelly. I'm really excited about today's episode because we're going to talk about something that impacts every single salesperson, entrepreneur, business owner, and leader out there, and that's confidence. Confidence is one of those topics that gets talked about all the time, but very few people really understand where it actually comes from. Most people think confidence is something you either have or you don't. They think it's tied to personality or experience or maybe just how you're wired. You hear people say things like, she's just naturally confident, or I wish I had his confidence. And when we say things like that, what we're really doing is putting confidence into the category of something that's fixed, like height or eye color. But here's the truth. Confidence isn't a personality trait. Confidence isn't something you're born with. Confidence is a system. High performers don't wake up every day magically feeling confident. They build habits and behaviors that create confidence as a byproduct. And once you understand that, confidence becomes something you can build on purpose instead of something you sit around waiting to feel. So today I'm going to walk you through a simple framework that will help you build real, lasting confidence. Not fake it, not hype yourself up, not just think positive thoughts, but actually build it through your actions and systems. Let's jump in. The first thing to understand is that confidence comes from evidence, not affirmations. Now, I'm not against positive thinking. I'm not against affirmations. In fact, I think mindset absolutely matters. It's a great starting point for building confidence. But when it comes to true, lasting confidence, your brain doesn't fully believe words. It believes proof. Your brain is constantly scanning your past experiences and asking one question. What evidence do I have that I can handle this? If you don't have a lot of evidence stored up, your brain fills in the gap with doubt. Think about this in the context of sales. If you haven't been tracking your calls, your conversations, your follow-ups, your wins, your progress, then when you hit a rough week, your brain says, see, this isn't working. Maybe you're not cut out for this. But if you've been tracking your activity and your wins, even small ones, your brain has a different story to tell. It says, okay, this week was slow, but look at all the conversations you've had. Look at the deals you've closed. Look at the progress you've made. The same thing applies if you're a business owner. If you're not tracking your numbers, your growth, your client results, your improvements, you start to feel like you're stuck, even when you're not. And when you feel stuck, your confidence drops. If you're a leader and you only focus on what's going wrong, the employee who's struggling, the project that's behind, the mistake someone made, you forget all the problems you solved, all the people you've developed, and all the decisions you've made well. When you don't track wins, your brain tracks worries. High performers understand this. They don't just work hard, they document their progress. They stack evidence. They build a mental file cabinet full of proof that says, I can do hard things, I've done them before. One very simple habit I recommend is keeping what I call a win log. At the end of each day, write down 3 wins. They don't have to be huge. In fact, most of the time, they won't be. Maybe you followed up when you didn't feel like it. Maybe you handled an objection better than you would have 6 months ago. Maybe you had a productive conversation with an employee that you have been avoiding. Maybe you stuck to your workout or protected your calendar. These small wins may not seem like much in the moment, but when you stack them day after day, week after week, you start to build a body of evidence that changes how you see yourself. You stop seeing yourself as someone who sometimes follows through and start seeing yourself as someone who shows up and does the work. That identity shift is where real confidence starts from. The second piece of the confidence system is preparation. Most of what people call a lack of confidence is actually a lack of preparation. Think about a sales call. If you go into that call not knowing much about the client, not having a clear list of questions you want to ask, and not being clear about the outcome you want, of course you're going to feel nervous. That's not a confidence problem, that's a preparation problem. Now, compare that to someone who has reviewed the client's website, looked at their LinkedIn, thought through possible pain points, prepared thoughtful questions, and clarified what a good next step would be. Same person, same situation, completely different level of confidence because the preparation is different. The same thing is true for leaders. If you go into a performance review, a difficult conversation, or a team meeting without notes, without examples, and without a clear outcome in mind, you're going to feel uncertain. And when you feel uncertain, you interpret that feeling as a lack of confidence. But what you're really feeling is a lack of clarity. Confidence rises when uncertainty drops, and preparation is what reduces uncertainty. Before any important interaction, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What outcome do I want? What questions do I need answered? Where might I get pushback? Just taking 5 or 10 minutes to think through those questions will dramatically change how confident you feel walking into that situation. High performers don't rely on adrenaline and personality. They rely on preparation. And because they prepare consistently, they walk into more situations with clarity. And that clarity gets interpreted as confidence by both themselves and others. The third part of the confidence system is standards and self-trust. This is a big one. Confidence is built when you keep promises to yourself. When you stop and think about it, the only thing we truly have is our word. Every time you say you're going to make those calls and you don't, you weaken self-trust. Every time you say you're going to address an issue and you avoid it, you chip away at your own confidence. Every time you tell yourself you're going to block time to work on business, and then you let distractions take over, you send yourself a message that your word doesn't mean much. And when you don't trust yourself, it's very difficult and very hard to feel confident. As I always say, the first sale you make is always to yourself. If you don't believe it, no one else will. On the flip side, every time you follow through, especially when it's uncomfortable, you build identity. You start to see yourself as someone who does what they say they're going to do. The strongest thing in the human mindset is to be in alignment with how you see yourself. Thus, building a strong identity is the key to building your confidence. Confidence isn't loud. It's built quietly when no one's watching. High performers have personal standards. They make the calls even when they don't feel like it. They follow up when it would be easier to procrastinate. They have the tough conversation instead of putting it off for weeks. They protect time for strategic work instead of living in reaction mode all day. Each one of these actions is a vote for the identity of someone who is disciplined, capable, and reliable. Over time, those votes add up, and what you're left with is a deep sense of self-trust. You trust that you'll do what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable. And when you trust yourself, confidence becomes a natural byproduct and it becomes your identity. The fourth and final piece of the system is understanding that action creates belief, not the other way around. Most people think the formula is belief equals action equals results. They think once I feel confident, then I'll take action. High performers understand the formula actually works like this. Action equals evidence equals beliefs. You don't wait to feel confident to make the call. You make the call, survive it, learn from it, and then your confidence grows. The first sales call is uncomfortable. The 10th call is a little easier. The 100th call? Now you look confident, but only because you built that confidence through repetition and experience. You don't think your way into confidence, you behave your way into confidence. Every time you do something that stretches you, ask for the business, raise your prices, speak up in a meeting, have a difficult conversation, you're proving to yourself that you can handle discomfort, and that proof becomes belief over time. Confidence is earned in motion, not in your head. So let me give you something very practical you can start using right away. Here's a simple 7-day confidence building challenge. For the next 7 days, do 3 things. First, write down 3 wins at the end of each day. Build evidence. Train your brain to see progress. Second, over-prepare for 1 key interaction each day. Build certainty. Walk in with clarity instead of hope. Third, do 1 thing you've been avoiding. Build self-trust. Show yourself that you can handle discomfort. If you do this consistently for just 1 week, you won't just feel more confident, you'll have proof that you're becoming more confident. Confidence isn't reserved for extroverts or the naturally bold. It belongs to the people who are willing to build it 1 action at a time. True confidence isn't built through affirmations. It's built through evidence, preparation, self-trust, and action. By tracking wins, preparing thoroughly, keeping promises to yourself, and taking consistent, challenging action, you create proof of your capabilities, which shifts your identity and naturally builds lasting confidence. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who could use a confidence boost, a salesperson, a leader, or a business owner who's playing smaller than they're capable of. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, and invite your friends to listen in as well. I'm Tom Kelly, and until next time, enjoy your week.
You've been listening to the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. On this highly useful podcast for people in the business world, you get the absolute top-notch info from an absolute pro on how to elevate your business and your leadership skills. Tom Kelly owns Potential in Motion, coaching you to the edge of what's possible. He's also a professional speaker and leadership trainer. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the coaching business: Tony Robbins, Ken Blanchard, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy. To sign up for a complimentary coaching session and to access some great free resources, hit the website at businesscoachchicago.com. Your success is not just a possibility, it's a certainty. See you next time on the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast.